Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. Well, today I have the Bitcoin chart open. I'd like to look at where we are, what we potentially have coming down the pike as far as the Bitcoin chart goes. So what I'd like to do is use the 2013 decline and compare it to what is taking place on today's chart, because I believe the 2013 decline and the recovery can serve as a potential guide for what is taking place today. So here is the 2013 decline. Now, there are a few things to take note of. So you have the decline here, and then it kind of goes flat right here. This flat part is ended with this bounce right here. So the decline really ends with this bounce. There are two types of declines that I've spoken about on previous Bitcoin videos. One ends in a bounce like this. The other one ends in a V bottom like this. So this decline ends with a bounce. After that bounce, Bitcoin changes gears and begins to move back up, recovering from the crash that took place. So let's jump over to today's chart and see if we can find some similarities. So here we are back at today's chart, and we have the decline that took place. Now, normally this peak right here is higher up in 2013. This one was higher. It took place on a much quicker time frame than it did here. Now, whenever a fractal repeats, the timing, the height, and the depth, they're always going to be original. They're going to be unique. So that can lead to a peak not being as high as it was in the original fractal. So you have this rebound here that actually went higher than the initial peak, and then the decline that takes place. So in the 2013 decline, we had this flat part with a bounce. So on today's chart, this bounce did take place right here. However, it did not go as deep as it did back in 2013. This also was a much longer amount of time that it took for this to develop versus today's chart. It was a much shorter amount of time that this developed in right here. So we have some similarities. Now, this bounce, if it went down further, it would be easier to recognize that. The point in all this is that this move up actually began right here, not here. In 2013, we have a clear view of this. And actually, in 2011, if we jump over there real quick, we also have a bounce, and the recovery takes place after the bounce. So here in 2013, the decline ends with the bounce. In today's chart, the decline actually also ends in the bounce, and this is the official recovery right here. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to copy and paste what took place over here in 2000, well, in this case it's 2016, onto today's chart. I'm going to adjust it for timing, height, and depth. So notice how this was like just a needle point peak right here. It comes crashing down, rebounds, and then does this peak. Well, in today's chart, it didn't quite do that. It looks more like this, where it comes up. Instead of this being a really high peak that's isolated, it just rolls over into this part right here. So let's put that fractal onto today's chart. I'm going to adjust it for timing, height, and depth, and it looks like this. So I purposely left a larger drop here just to indicate what it normally, traditionally has done in the past versus what it has done today. This is a deviation, which has altered the structure, but the overall pattern remains the same. Here we don't have, so this is where it goes up to that needle type end of a peak. It did not do that this time, and now it did the decline, and so we are here at this next phase. Now, according to that 2000, well, it's 16 by this time, chart, this is what takes place next. Now, I don't know the height, the depth, or the timing of this part right here. In the 2016 part, it did not really get above this. It stayed below it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's jump over there. So we can see that it really just kind of stayed below all this here. So this was kind of like a wedge almost taking shape before it broke out and got above it and took off, but then it comes crashing back down. So back on today's chart, this is what I would expect. I would expect it to come back up, test this area here again, and once it breaks through that, expect a move up, but it's going to be met with some type of pullback. I don't know the height, the depth, the timing of all this, but this is a basic roadmap. Now, back here in 2016, once it gets in, well, this took place in 2017 now, once it gets above this previous peak, that's when you start getting more vertical movement. However, there are still some pullbacks, as should be expected, but eventually it comes to a peak. Today's chart is progressing as it should. I fully expect this to continue to develop into the next bull run for Bitcoin. I don't know how long it will take. I don't know how high it will go, but I do know that so far we are on that road that leads to a new all-time high. There is nothing to indicate that this time is different. I know there's some TA out there that is suggesting that we could see a massive push-up right here. With Bitcoin, I don't want to rule it out, but if history is a guide, I would expect some more kind of struggling like we see here to take place before you get that move up, and then just expect a pullback when that does take place. Well, folks, I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. This type of technical analysis that I do, it's something that I have discovered, I've developed, so it's unique. If you find this type of technical analysis interesting, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I will continue to follow the Bitcoin chart as it continues to develop. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.